Ruckerman. Ruckerman.
Real takes over fake debates, authentic truth. Can't underestimate SB and Sean breaking through the noise, serving real talk, the genuine choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports, passion, fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
We are live. Sbtalksports Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. Sean, it is Monday. What is going on, brother?
Doing good, SB, man. Great, crazy sports weekend, but too, but doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Basketball is back. Albums we've been telling y'all, if y'all have been watching the shows, but also if you watch, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, and make sure you guys subscribe. And also, Real Takes over fake debates on every platform. Video version will always be on YouTube, the audio platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart. We are on there too.
Just play the drop, SB.
Let's play the drop. Okay, let's drop the drop there. Just drop the drop there. Let the lady tell.
Real Takes Over Fake Debates has invaded the audio podcast world. Add Real Takes Over Fake Debates on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeartMedia. Leave a 5-star review and comment below. New episodes every Monday and Friday.
Episodes every Monday and Friday. Let the lady tell you right there. Sean, like you said, crazy sports weekend. And we've been telling people October 21st, this is today, that we're doing our NBA prediction special episode, which we do have it. But since it has been such a crazy world in sports, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, you know, me and you are big Yankee guys. Shout out to the Yankees in the World Series. We're going to talk about that in 1 second. We got some WNBA news. The WNBA actually might be doing a lockout. Obviously, got our we got our NBA predictions. And also, Sean, with the crazy things that have been happening this weekend, I'm starting to think sports fans are the worst fans in the world. And we definitely going to have to talk about it. But salute to the chat. We got Tiff in the chat. We got Cottage in the chat. Goat James. Shout out Garrison in the chat. Shout out everybody in the chat, man. But let's start with the most recent news that's dropped. And this is warms our heart as fans. The World Series is set, Sean. Our Yankees, I should say, and I can say that proudly, our Yankees versus the Dodgers. What's your reaction to this journey? I've been telling you, this has been a year. This is the year. I'm still saying that this is the year. But what's your reaction to the Yankees being back in the World Series again?
So certainly, SB, I'm excited. It's been 15 years since the Yankees have been in the World Series. 2009 seems like yesterday. But at the same time, every franchise goes through, their ups and downs, and for a great run of about 15 years in the mid 90s, going into the late 2010s, the Yankees we were usually, a team that was always in the World Series, or at least, very close to the World Series. Not going to say why we didn't make the World Series over the last few years, but that said, for those that don't really know historically, this is the most frequent World Series matchup in MLB history.
Oh, yes.
Times have the Yankees and Dodgers met in the World Series, but this is the first time in 43 years. For comparison's sake, this is Lakers Celtics.
Yes. This is definitely Lakers Celtics. Yes.
And it's rare in sports where we get to see not just the two best teams, because I think most people will say the Yankees and Dodgers are the two best teams making the World Series, even though Phillies had a great season. Certainly the Mets had a great season. The Guardians had a great season. Detroit had a really good season as well. But these two teams have arguably the two best players in baseball, the two MVPs in the AL and NL. But you talk about very loaded lineups, very good pitching staffs, and it's really your two preeminent franchises when you talk about, and if you're a hat person, and obviously I'm a hat person, I don't own a Dodgers hat because but
it's funny you brought up hat real quick, not to stop you.
Yeah.
You know what I laughed about when I said the Yankees shouldn't win, because I remember when they won in 2009, the inaugural hat. I don't know if I'll be prepared for this one. I don't know if I want. It's a Yankees. I'm still might get it, but I'm just saying the inaugural championship Yankee hat ain't gonna hit like it did back then. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'll say this. And you know what? And SB, I'll say this. These, when you talk about just brands, right? Just brands. These are probably the two preeminent brands in baseball. Yes. Because it's not anywhere you can go where you can't see somebody in a Dodgers hat or a Yankee hat.
Ever.
So I think if I'm baseball and Major League Baseball, who I think has largely, and we'll talk more about this on Friday, but I think Major League Baseball has really struggled from a national perspective to find its footing in terms of getting that interest outside of your, baseball fans. And again, if you're a fan of baseball, you understand, why that exists. This could be great for baseball in terms of the series. Now, as a Yankee fan, and again, we do try to be, unbiased when we talk about these teams. But as a Yankee fan, I hope they sweep them. But that's
they sweep them too. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but that said, this is great. Could potentially be great for baseball. But I know, again, we have Friday's podcast. The World Series does start on Friday. We'll get more into it on Friday. And, but yeah, definitely excited for it.
Definitely. I told you, it's been a crazy week of sports, so we got to talk about everything. But we just excited as fans of the Yankees. And also, like I said, if you guys see by the title of the stream, it's just NBA season predictions and also sports fans as well. I'm going to make a separate, so if you just want to hear our predictions, trust me, wait till the end of the show. But also, it's going to be a separate episode. It's going to be set alone. So don't worry, because we got to talk about everything. With us talking about everything, though, Sean, and another thing that I also read in this report, this player is set to come back to practice, have a concussion problem, but he also already announced that he will not be wearing the Guardian cap. Tua Tagovailoa is set to return to practice, and I'm not going to lie, the Dolphins offense definitely need him. That has been terrible without him. He vows to play smart, but the only thing that question in my mind with Tua, Sean, is that Tua don't really play that reckless to me like that. Like, obviously, he runs, try to make a play or two there. But when you say reckless, I'm thinking of like RG3 or did I say RG3? That's not fair. Sorry about that, RG3. Like Anthony Richardson. I look at him, he plays reckless. That's a reckless play. Lamar Jackson got smarter. He don't play as reckless as he do. every time Tua got hit, even with this last injury, it was just like a basic tackle. And as I said, I think it's more than just playing smart in this situation that's going to make the difference. And but also for you to say you do not even consider the guardian cap, it's kind of crazy to me. I don't know. Everybody got their theories that it don't make that much of a difference. Some protection is better than no protection. That's all I'm gonna say. But what you think about Tua set to make his return?
I mean, SB, I think, if anybody has listened to us talk about this story over the last, couple months or so, I've been very adamant that I didn't think Tua should be the one making the decision. Apparently, he's talked to multiple doctors. He's gone through multiple tests, and no medical professional has told him that he should retire. No one has told him that. So I'm not going to argue and fight against what the medical professionals say. However, the other side is the medical professionals could not tell him definitively if he continues to get hit, what could happen. And what will happen. So I think the expectation was that at some point he would come back.
Right.
And again, I know he says he vows to play smart. I know that sounds great and cliche. Listening to Tua talk is like listening to a Samoan Russell Wilson in a press conference because he doesn't say anything of any real depth. But I will say, does play smart mean play conservative? Does play smart mean, I'm going to, I'll get down, if I feel any pressure? Does play smart mean I'm going to throw the ball away before if I feel a defender near me?
That's true.
So what exactly does that mean?
Not get hit. You're going to get hit regardless.
Exactly. You're going to get hit. It's football. You're going to get hit. And I don't expect any defender or any defensive team to take it light and say, Tua, he's gone down a few times before. Let's be careful when we get to him. No, they're going in there to put him on the ground. So not to hurt him, but to put him on the ground. So, I don't know what this means. It is going to be interesting. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on this. And if he gets hit again, which he will get hit, and he goes down again, and is unable to get up or needs assistance getting up, then we're going to have a very different conversation about this decision making.
I think this is like, which it should have been like the last time. This is like a last off situation because now if he get hurt again, everybody going to be looking like, hey, yeah, I think it might be time to hang it up because it's getting scary to watch as a fan. It's getting gruesome. I'm cool on that. I'm cool. I don't want to see that. I'd rather see you living and being the Samoan Russell Wilson. You can do commentary. You can be a coach. All if I care. It just had to be something different. It just had to be something different for me. Sean, speaking of another injury, and this is what we're going to get into why sports fans are the worst. Deshaun Watson season is over. He suffered a ruptured Achilles. And by doing that, Deshaun Watson suffered a ruptured Achilles. No matter how you feel about whatever situation, which we don't know the 100% truth of yet, with Deshaun Watson. And yes, he has not been playing the best. And also, I think a part of this being pushed is because of his contract too. So he had a bad situation off the field. A lot of people have been mad besides the Browns fans because he got the league was mad because he got the fully guaranteed contract. And if Deshaun Watson was to happen to live up to this contract, that would change the whole dynamic of the football, which we know it. And then also, he hasn't been playing well. He get hurt. Cleveland Browns at home. Fans were booing and cheering. I would have played the video, but I feel like it's kind of disturbing. It was literally fans standing up, cheering that this man got injured. No matter how you feel about somebody, no matter how you feel how wrong it is. Perfect example. Me and Sean, and I'm going to be straightforward, honest with y'all. Welcome to Real Takes Over Fake Debates. If y'all don't know, me and Sean going to be straightforward, honest. If you don't read the description of the show. Unapologetic, we're going to be honest. It's going to be unfiltered. We're going to say it respectfully because we know how to talk. We're going to say it respectfully, but we're going to give y'all the truth. Me and Sean both feel a way about Brett Favre. at what Brett Favre did. Brett Favre recently was just in the hospital. We did not down talk or disrespect him and saying in no ill will type of way. Me and him feel away. He could be. We always be saying the name does not be said. We could feel away, but it's never been to a point where we was cheering that Brett Favre was in the hospital sick. We was booing, even though he did some ill will stuff. So, man, even if you feel away about Deshaun Watson, at the end of the day, this is not cool. This is not human. This is not kind. This is not spiritually right. I'm sorry. I don't care if you feel like he trashed because he played bad. I don't care if you feel a way about because he got this fully guaranteed contract. I don't care if you feel about his situation off the field. He was right or wrong. Because trust me, I feel a certain way about anything. But there's no place in sports for you to be cheering for somebody to get hurt. I think it's utterly disgusting. I feel like, and to do it from your own person on your own team, you cheer that he got hurt. That's not cool. That's disgusting. And all you Browns fans, y'all out of line. 100% out of line. But Sean, I want to hear, what was your reaction to that? I was utterly disgusted. I'm not going to lie to you. I was disgusted by it.
So, SB, I have several thoughts about this. The first thing is I will on no level defend what Deshaun Watson was accused of doing. Right? I will on no level defend that. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm not going to get into the details, but we understand that he was accused by multiple women of sexual misconduct. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not defending that. Where I take issue with it is that there seemed to be a cavalcade of people who were cheering because they don't like him personally. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to say that was everyone because I don't know that if it was everyone. Mm-hmm. What I do know is that there have been other people who have been accused of sexual misconduct and in some cases charged with sexual misconduct who came back and played well, and nobody really talked about it. There was a quarterback who played in Pittsburgh for the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Went through that. There was another quarterback who played for the Colts and the Broncos who got accused of something, who did something in college at Tennessee. I'm not going to say their name, but if you want to look it up. Use the context I just used to look it up. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever talked about it. Mm-hmm. So it amazes me when you play well, or when you play above, or you play at expectation or above expectation, how forgiving people are.
They'll love you.
You know, how forgiving people are of your off the field or off the court behavior. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. But let me say something about this whole thing that we do call media and why it's so important. SB, you brought up a good point earlier about something being spiritually wrong. I think we live in a space where we can be critical, but we still have to remember to offer grace. Particularly if someone seems like they are trying to do the right thing or trying to clean things up, because everybody's made mistakes.
Yes. Nobody's perfect.
There ain't a single person walking on this earth right now who ain't made a mistake. So, and hasn't had their shortcomings and hasn't had their things that if it came out about them, people may look at them sideways. The difference is this person and others who live in their life in the public eye have their stuff put out in public because they live in the public eye.
Yes.
So let's be very clear about that. And again, I want to be very, very clear for those who I am not defending what someone was accused of doing. I'm not defending that at all. What I am saying is if someone is making or has made an effort to clean up and to get their life on track, there needs to be grace offered there.
Yep.
Because here's the crazy thing about grace, and this is not to turn this into a sermon. The crazy thing about grace is for every time you offer somebody grace, somebody has offered you that same grace, and you didn't even have to, and you don't have to know it to know that you got that grace. So at the end of the day, let's be very careful about being so judgmental of Deshaun Watson's previous behavior and previous life, particularly because it has not been an issue since he's been in Cleveland.
That's
right.
True.
He's been, by all accounts, a model citizen in Cleveland. Now, has he been a model quarterback in Cleveland? No. Admit that. He's not been a model quarterback in Cleveland. And that's what it comes down to. He's not been a model quarterback in Cleveland. He's not been lived up to the fully guaranteed contract in Cleveland. We understand that, and we get that. Now, here's where I have an issue with fans. I don't believe in censoring fans. You pay your hard-earned money to go out on Saturdays or Sundays or whenever you go out to the ballpark or to the see your team play. And if you have an issue with the performance, you have the right to express your opinions about the performance.
Yep.
Fan. You absolutely have the right to do that. That is your absolute right. If the performance and the effort is not there, you have the right to say something about that. Now, where I take issue with it is when it becomes about the person. And that's where it crossed the line yesterday with Deshaun Watson.
Because it's about the person.
It's about the person. Because crazy as it might sound, he was actually playing pretty well yesterday. But they booed him before the game.
Yeah. If you're booing off performances, I'm fine. When somebody play trash, boo him. But once he got hurt, the booing and cheering should have stopped.
Right. And it really, in a lot of ways, I think really messed up what should have been a really exciting day for Cleveland Brown fans because Nick Chubb was back.
They look totally different with Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb, we know how they feel about Nick Chubb. We love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is one of the most likable people in the NFL. And him coming back after what he went through last year and the multiple surgeries and the rehab, and if you've been through that, you understand it's truly something special when the guy's able to get back out there. That got lost in what happened with Deshaun Watson yesterday. And that is even worse. And let me say this one last thing, SP, real quick. I think too many times in sports, we hold the player most accountable, and we don't always look at everything that's going on around them in the organization, right? Everything that's going on around them in the organization. People are going to look at what the Browns did last year with different quarterbacks and making a playoff run and all that stuff, and I get it. And I know coming into the season, I had exceptionally high expectations for the Browns. But the reason why I'm pointing that out is the surgery that Deshaun Watson had last year, the shoulder surgery. I had a great friend of mine who had that same surgery many years ago. He was a guy played college football, injured his shoulder, and he told me it was like 2 years after the surgery before he actually felt normal. Months before he could even lift his arm up above his head. That's how crazy that surgery is. So the fact that Deshaun Watson, after going through that surgery, fighting to get back on the field, and again, I'm not disputing the performance. The performance wasn't great. I'm talking about his desire to get back on the field. And do what it takes to try to help his team win can't be understated. But also, did the organization do the right thing for Deshaun Watson by saying, yeah, we're okay with you getting back on the field? And that, to me, is not talked about enough. So I think we got to consider all of these things when we're talking about that situation. And it's not just Deshaun Watson and his lack of performance. That's low-hanging fruit. Let's look at the whole picture and say, no, did Deshaun Watson play well? No. But it wasn't just because Deshaun Watson wasn't out there trying or giving effort. And I think that's where Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston and Greg Newsome and their press, that's what they were talking about yesterday.
Yep.
Was the stuff they see every day coming to the facility, the way this guy comes in and works and puts in the effort. The results might not have been there, but it's not a lack of effort. It's not that he doesn't care. It's not that he's not trying. It's just it's something's not working.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's what people don't want to talk about. And all the way, I think Kyle just asked us the question. He asked us, is Deshaun Watson overrated? I mean, for the situation right now where his contract is, they're gonna say yes. The quick answer is yes. Right now, Deshaun Watson is over because of his contract. Right now, he's overrated. And I like how you did bring up like Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston. They had scolded the Brown friends who cheered during that because like you don't see the everyday thing, but also just in general, who cheers because somebody hurt? Like Daniel Jones got benched. Before one game, the fans booed him. I'm cool. Like you said, before the game, they booed Deshaun Watson because they don't like him before. Like you also state, fans spend their hard-earned money. They should use their voice on performances only. Performance-based only. Because now you got Jameis Winston in the locker room sounding like a preacher. You got Myles Garrett at the podium looking utterly disgusted. Imagine these are players on your team, and then you'll get mad when nobody wants to play for your team and your city franchise because it's like if the fans are going to treat me this way or other players this way because next time it could be me. What if I get hurt? What if Myles Garrett don't be the same person? What if Winston don't be the same player again? Are you going to do me the same way? And then they go, next thing you know, players don't want to sign that. Or also you running future rookies away. Everybody keep talking about Shador or Cameron Ward or Beckers, all these young quarterbacks to come in to replace it. Now, if I'm a young quarterback seeing what's going on with Deshaun Watson, why would I want to play for this franchise? Everybody in the league can play. When you make it to the level, everybody can play, but everybody can't perform. Even if Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league before he went to the Browns and got injured. But things got in the way of it. So I do want to tip my hat and salute Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston for voicing their opinion about how the fans were. But also, Sean, it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets even worse. Before I even bring up this story that said it get worse, a fan ran on the field at the Steelers game. I think Trump was at the game, and she had a Trump sign, which is crazy. Like, why you just run on the field mid-game, lady? And I don't know how she got out right away. I don't know. They usually put people in jail, but she got out right. That's a different story for a different day. Saquon Barkley goes back to the Giants to play the Giants, not to play for him, play against him because he's on the Eagles. Fans are burning his jersey, and I don't understand why fans are burning this Saquon Barkley's jersey. The Giants let Saquon Barkley go. Saquon Barkley literally told them, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. They said go to the open market and see how much you're going to be worth to try to lowball him on the money. Knowing that the dude literally said, we seen what's the worst thing for the Giants fans and the Giants in this situation, that it was I think it was Hard Knocks. It was recorded. The guy literally said, Saquon Barkley is one of our most popular players, and I can't sleep at night if he goes to the Eagles. Y'all literally seen a play-by-play of Saquon Barkley getting pushed out the Giants. Why are y'all burning his jersey? He didn't want to leave. Y'all pushed him out. What is the problem? Like, fans are losing their mind, bro. You got people running on the field. You got people cheering players. Wait till we get to this college story next. But Sean, what is your reaction to this? Because I truly don't understand it. It don't even make logical sense. Because Saquon Barkley wanted to stay a Giant. And they pushed him out.
Again, SB, it goes back to, I think, oftentimes the anger and the emotion is misguided. You just mentioned Saquon Barkley made it clear he wanted to stay in New York. His thing was he wanted to be compensated fairly. He wanted to be compensated fairly. Giants, Joe Shane, that front office said, hey, go out See what you can get on the market.
Like what?
Let me say this, SB. You remember the movie Straight Outta Compton?
Yes.
There's a scene in the movie when after NWA's first album comes out and they're on tour, and you got a bunch of fans when they're riding on the tour bus that are, stepping on their albums and tapes and rolling them over on with construction equipment and all kinds of garbage. and I think Easy or said something to the effect of, hey, they can do whatever they want. They paid for them.
They paid for them.
I think it's the same kind of similar thing with the jersey. Like, it's like, you paid your hard-earned money for a jersey. Why not just give it to Goodwill? Or, I mean, I personally don't believe in wasting money, but okay. And then again, if you want to burn something, go to Goodwill, buy a cheap suit, put it on a mannequin, bring it to the stadium, put Joe Shane's head on it, and burn that, because that's your problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
And to a greater degree, look at the ownership, because that's your problem right there.
Yep.
It wasn't Saquon. Saquon couldn't sign himself to a deal.
Mm-hmm. And you can't tell me he don't deserve to be compensated. Saquon Barkley was the reason why y'all was good. Y'all just had to pay Daniel Jones, and y'all ready to push him out the door.
Right. So, and again, my big thing is, listen, at the end of the day, these guys understand it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, from a fan perspective, stop guiding your anger to the player. It's not just the player. There's another side of it. It's the team. It's the organization. They have a responsibility too. And if they don't do it, then put the anger on the organization, not the player. He did what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
He got a contract. He got a good contract from a good team, and he's thriving there.
Thriving very well. I can't believe it. Now, Sean, the next situation. So, college football is around the time of year. So, you like the excitement of fans. Like when Tennessee just beat Alabama, they got the thing. They like the cigars or smoke the cigar. Man, cool, fan tradition. Fans wild out, especially colleges. And you try to give the younger ones a little bit of break because they're younger fans, but I ain't gonna like college football got them older fans, them homers, whatever, cool. So the SEC is fining Texas school because it was an interception thrown, but they called pass interference. So the call was overturned. The Texas fans got to throwing trash and everything on the field because it was a bad call. And now Texas got to pay for it. Once again, Sean, sports fans are losing their mind. You can just boo the call. Why you're throwing stuff on the trash? You done cost the school money. We know how much money Texas making there. I mean, that's a nice price tag, but they got it. They more than sure got it. They done made enough. You're throwing trash on the field. That's bad. Now you're delaying the game. You don't like the call. Whatever. It's a bad call. Just boo. What is going on this week? Is something in the air something in the air for sports fans that is changing differently? What's going on?
I don't know, SB. What I can tell you is I remember, growing up that, whenever I went out in the streets, I knew I wasn't just representing me. I was representing my mother and my grandparents and my family, and don't do anything that would embarrass them. So me running off the field in the middle of a game was never going to happen unless I was playing. Me throwing stuff on the field, no. Like, it's just, I think what's happening again is that people, I think there's a very, very serious problem with a lack of social comportment at this point. When you tell and it starts to me with kids. You go to a store, you tell your kids, act like you got some sense, act like you've been somewhere before. I think people just don't know. They act like they've never been anywhere before. You know, I'll just say this real quick. I don't like to shout out restaurants. You ever been to Texas Roadhouse?
Yes.
You remember the first time? I remember the first time with the Texas Roadhouse, and they had Texas Roadhouse had the peanuts, and you can eat the peanuts and you just throw the shells on the floor.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was basically you just throw the shells on the floor. That was basically what it was. I don't know if they still do it because I don't eat that stuff anymore. But what I'm saying,
when I went there, they just had the bread. I never went to them when they had the peanuts and you throw the shells on the floor. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was like Texas Roadhouse or Logan's or one of those. Like whatever. Anyway, you basically eat the peanuts and you throw the shells on the floor because they're gonna swoop up at the night anyway. It was so weird to me because I was like, no, that's just weird. Like I wouldn't do that. Like, you know, so my point is like, you know, you just you when you go somewhere, you gotta act like you've been somewhere before, act like you got some sense. And don't do anything that could potentially bring embarrassment on yourself and your family. And I think we've lost a sense of that just as a society in general. Not everyone, but just in general.
I think the problem with like the sports fans, although it's Tiff G said that good roles they have. Texas Roadhouse do got good roles. Texas Roadhouse do that. I don't think still. So True said it was Texas Roadhouse, so they just shoot it. It's two things. One, I think the problem is with sports fans. One, I think they do it in the crowd because, like you said, I think some people do got sense, but they figure that it's so many people here, I will individually get put out. I mean, get put on Front Street. You know what I'm saying? Get put in the spotlight. And then two, I just think people, like you said, just socially just don't care. Like they don't like this generation. I can say, well, I'm not say this generation because it's not just the young kids. It's people older than me and people around my age too. This era, it seems like they just take a lack of accountability. Like they just think consequences don't exist. I just see people who talk crazy to people on the internet, talk crazy to people in sports, say and do things to people and don't like, bro, it's a consequence to what you're doing is going to happen. And I feel like we have lost that because everybody feel like it's like a social media thing. And then also another thing with the social media thing, everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants to because no funny stuff. And if no funny stuff, I'm just be straightforward with this. We had a girl go viral because a guy do content as a street interviewer, and he was just asking, "Hey, what moves do you do to make your man happy in the bedroom?" And all she said was "hot too." Spit on that thing, and she a whole famous person now, making a lot of money, got a lot of followers. Because once you get a lot of followers, it helps you out do that. Now she got podcasts that made millions. The other guy, on the other hand, the one who contented ain't made nothing off of it. So I think also that play a part in the show. I think people live in this era to get a viral moment because once you get that one viral moment and get a following, you good because everybody's a celebrity now. Everybody. It's to a point now they're like streamers are more popular than some athletes or viral sensations. They are more popular than athletes. They are more definitely than the rappers now. Some musicians. It's crazy. And the guy could be like, shout out Keith Lee. I like Keith Lee content. Keith Lee. All Keith Lee do is just order food, tell you it's good or bad. And he bigger than a lot of people. It's just the era that we in now that you could become famous for anything. So some people might do stuff like, hey, I want to have a viral moment, so I'm gonna go run on the field. And then now I'm gonna do 4 or 5 podcasts or 4 or 5 interviews about why I ran on the field with a Donald Trump sign. Or I'm gonna boo what's the name? And hopefully that one person record me and I'll come off and discuss just to get some viral attention. And it's not, people got to understand the internet. I tell everybody this: the internet is one place where you're not going to win. The internet is undefeated because you could be loved one moment and be the most hated person like this, and they can switch everything off. They can take all your accounts, take all your money. So you think you just for the say and do anything and get away with it? It won't happen. It won't happen, Sean. Now, we got to talk about, before we get into our NBA predictions, but let us know what y'all think about the sport fans being the worst. And also, which sport has the worst fan bases in general? Sean, do you think you got one on top of the head? Who do you think got the worst fan base when it comes to sports?
I don't even know. I don't even know at this point.
I don't know. A lot of people could. Hope nobody said WNBA fans because just because the Kayla Clark season, or anybody say Kayla Clark fans or LeBron fans, or certain people. I think certain people fan bases is worse. But I said I hope people don't say WNBA fans because the WNBA players opt out the current CBA after historic season. They said we are out. The problem that occurred with them opting out the current CBA, which is understandable, had a historic season. The numbers went up. No matter who it was, Caitlin Clark or whatever, cool, the numbers went up. The problem is also, Sean, even though the numbers went up, the WNBA still lost $40 million. And the NBA is not seeing a return. And a couple of owners are growing frustrated because the NBA pays for the WNBA. Now you got people like complaining, why are they making new teams when we can't even get this situation right with what we have? So, Sean, let's go to the first part, or whatever one you want to talk first. You want to talk about the 40 million situation or the players opting out first?
Players opting out.
Okay, let's go back to the opting out real quick. What is your reaction to it? Because I'm like, I understand it, but you also got to look at both sides. This is a double-edged sword where I actually kind of agree. I ain't gonna say agree. I understand both sides, but what side of the fence you on with this?
So I'm always on the laborer side when it comes to collective bargaining. Excuse me. I think a couple of things to really recognize. Number one, this was expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once the NBA got the new media rights deal done, that goes into effect in 2025. This was expected. So not surprised that the WNBA players opted out. I think there are three things that they really want to focus on. Number one is they want a new economic model, better wages, meaning the current max salary in the WNBA is about $252,000. Right. For, obviously when you look at the NBA salaries, and again, not that it's apples to apples, because it's not. NBA plays twice as many games. We understand, bigger audience. We get that. But with new media rights money coming in, the expectation is that the max salaries and the salaries are going to go up triple, probably at minimum, and could even potentially quadruple with new money. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there's not really a standardization for facilities across the league. So, for example, the Las Vegas Aces. The Las Vegas Aces have their own standalone facilities, practice, things like that. But they're also a team that currently plays in a market that does not have an NBA team. So maybe a little different for them than a WNBA team that's in an NBA market. So that's the other thing too. So basically, they just want some standardization and consistency across the league. So that's understandable. And then
that's understandable.
The thing, and the probably the biggest thing is the expansion to lifelong benefits. So obviously, if you play in the NBA a certain number of years, you are eligible for lifelong benefits for you and your family. I think it's 10 years. Is lifelong benefits for you and your immediate family. WNBA wants the same thing for its players. The Players Association wants the same thing. So that's the issue. That's why it's happening. Are they going to get this worked out? It's quite possible. That they will do that. Now, they got basically a year to try to get a new agreement done before there's a lockout. Next season will happen for the WNBA, right? That's happening. This actually, the current agreement does not end until October 2025. So next season will happen. It's the seasons beyond next season they need to work through. So that's really what it comes down to.
For me, like you said, I understand both sides, and I agree with both sides because both things are understandable. It's new money coming in, you should get paid. But also with them losing money, which I'm gonna go into losing money in a second. But I'm saying I understand that. But from the first part, you gotta opt out. You gotta, get the new money and get new deals and get more benefits. But I don't think the WNBA can afford to lock out because right now it's starting to catch a blaze. Got new players coming in, these new sensational young players, and you finally got people who got an eye on. No matter how the eyes on it or who the eyes on, it's a start because then maybe once that one player that they watching, and you go over there and they playing the Lynx, and then what's the girl name? I always say her name wrong. Her name started the score.
Nafisa Collier.
Nafisa Collier, right? So maybe it could be a Caitlin Clark fan watching the Fever. They playing the Lynx. They watch the Fox. What's her name again? I'm sorry. Nafisa. Jesus, man. She got a lot of letters on that name. Nafisa. And be like, oh my God, this is the good player. I'm going to start keeping up with that player. And it gives a chance to grow. You take a year in the lockout, fans might not come back. And I don't think even no matter how popular Caitlin Clark is, I think a lockout doesn't help at all. At all. Because you still got the NBA. And it ain't like, oh man, I'm gonna miss the WNBA that is gone. No, I feel like you just gonna turn the fans off and lose them. So I just don't think they can afford it for the viewership and money wise. But I understand you have to do what you got to do. But is it worth taking the risk of the place getting closed down completely, the league getting closed down completely?
So I will say this, SB. So I understand your point functionally, but let me see if I can put some context to that point. The best way to prove your worth is to not show up.
Understandable.
Right. If this is the best time for the WNBA players to use the groundswell from this past season in the rise of popularity, the rise of ratings, things of that, to leverage themselves and to negotiate a better deal for themselves, not just currently, but long term. The business model of the WNBA has to get better. What that looks like, I'm not going to get into that because that's a separate podcast on its own. We don't want to go into that. But I think they understand as a league and as a union that this is the time to leverage that, right? The best time for an actor is often after they win awards.
That's true.
Why? Because they got a lot more. They got an exposure. It may not even be their greatest performance, but they
got the award.
They got an award for this particular performance. Now when they walk in the room, it's like, hey, I'm bringing, hey, I'm a Academy Award winning so and so. Hey, I'm Golden Globe winner so and so. Hey, I'm Emmy Award winning so and so. So that's what the WNBA is right now. This is their moment to do that. And they got a year to do it. They got a year to get it figured out. And I don't think players necessarily want to lock out because locking out means you don't get paid.
You don't get paid.
But they have to use their power and their ability. Their power and their ability is we are the talent. We are the drive. We are what brings eyes to this. We have to leverage that right now in the best interest of our association, not just currently, but for those coming in the future.
Now, when we look at even with the historic season they had, they still, for WA, still lose. I thought this is the year they was going to hit kind of positive or at least close, but how does the WNBA, even with this historic season, still lose 40 M's?
Again, I would have to. It would really take me going and looking at their business model to figure out, what it is and where the spending is and why. I know, again, there's been issues around travel and chartering travel and things like that. There's operational costs of owning a team and running a league. If the league is continuing operating in the red, obviously you don't necessarily want to do that. But again, I think it comes back to how much revenue are they getting from media rights, which is a good portion of your revenue. And again, we expect that to increase. I don't think it's going to be $40 million every year for the next 10 years. I think it's going to get better, but that remains to be seen. With the new media rights deal and what they're getting from that deal over the next 11 years.
I think I've seen that they signed the deal with like TNT, and TNT got like part ownership of the league too.
No, that's a different league. That's the players. That's the league that Breonna Stewart and Nafisa Collier co-founded.
The 3v3 one.
The 3v3 league. Yes, that's.
Okay. Because I'm like, all right. I don't know if they could like TNT doing that. But let me know what you guys think about that. This situation. Only thing else I can say they could do better, just survive until Juju get here. They get Juju and Kayla Clark. Or if it's that bunch of look, I done seen the NBA do it multiple times. You to rig players to go certain places, or you to make things happen for other business reasons. It's cool. WA do it. Hey, look, if you gotta soup up the sky, you gotta soup up the fever just to get Angel Reese versus Kay Clark in the finals. If it's best for business right now, do it. Is it wrong? Is it might rule the integrity of the game? But look, I'd rather for a couple years, Sean. I'm going out. I know I'm going out my sports heart for this, but I don't want to see WNBA shut down, and I don't want to see another franchise shut down like the Comets, because I look when I seen this, I looked into it like why certain teams end up ending. It could be wrong, but I see like videos on it where they said like I guess the Rockets was funding like the Comets or something, and they stopped doing it. They tried to let them operate on their own, and they couldn't. Or like that's why a lot of teams that was available got canceled. Maybe the location, but I don't know if it works like that. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm not going to support this local team no more." I don't think it like works like that. If the owner, if it's set by owner location, so I'm gonna do a little more research on it, get the exact information on it. That's why I was like, because I'm always fighting for how you don't have your most historic franchise in the league. I don't care if the Houston Comets is your most historic franchise. You got to have the Boston Celtics in the league.
Yeah, I'll send you some information on that. SB.
Okay, cool. I like any information. I like. Before we get into our NBA season predictions, because one of my predictions, I have this team as a play-in team. This part of the reason why. Joel Embiid said he does not plan to play back-to-back games for the rest of the season. For the rest of his career. If he had to guess, he would never play back-to-back games again. And the ticket, KG, went off because the era different. They just always talk about how this era is. KG pretty much went off about Joel Embiid. But what's your reaction to Joel Embiid saying he's not playing back-to-back games no more?
Par for the course with him at this point. Obviously just signed a pretty big extension that will keep him in Philadelphia, presumably for the next few years. And they're playing the long game in Philly with him right now. Obviously, because the big thing for them is they just want to make sure he plays enough games that they are a playoff team and that he's healthy going into playoffs. So
he never healthy in the playoffs, though, Sean. He never healthy.
That's what I'm saying. So they're hedging their bet on, hey, maybe he doesn't play back-to-backs. Maybe they only have 15 back-to-backs this season. I don't know how many back-to-backs they have, but maybe they only have 15 back-to-backs this season. I think the big thing is, it's load management, but it's the player saying it rather than the organization saying it. And that's it.
And then Embiid is 300. Thunder said Embiid is 300 pounds and 7 feet moving like a small forward. That's against physics. I mean, that's true. Is Anthony Davis better than Joel Embiid? When healthy, no. But KG exact statement was 82 games, man. That's what the job entails. They said the former Celtic and the Timberwolves force said on a podcast he shared with Paul Pierce, if you play the playoffs, then the games, then the summer, then the season, then that's when you rest. But I'm not going to criticize that. I'm not going to criticize that crap. The son of a B is going to sit out the back-to-backs enough already with comparing errors. It has nothing to do with it if you don't play. So KG just pretty much saying like the job demand. Look, I was saying it the most KG way possible. He said he's soft in the aerosol. They don't live up to expectations of playing. They don't feel like this era is tough enough, like the era back in the day. He feel like Joel Embiid is letting his team down. He said he's not doing his job. He also brought up like how his contract, the contract demands you play 82 games. If your body can't do it, but my only problem with Joel, because I can understand if your body can't make you do it, that's understandable. My only problem with Joel is if you did this and you was healthy when it mattered, I'm cool with it. But him and Kawhi's never healthy when you need them. So it defeats the purpose of you sitting out the whole season. Might as well just get my money's worth during the season. Well, get my fans viewership worth during the season. Because I just seen Joel Embiid sit out a lot. Still wasn't healthy for the playoffs. I seen Kawhi sit out a lot. Still wasn't healthy for the playoffs. Even with that Raptors run, thank God he wasn't fully healthy then, but he made it through and didn't play back-to-backs. So, and this Philly team is not set up to where Joel Embiid can miss all those games and they could go in and beat the Knicks, beat the Celtics, or even beat the Bucks. I just don't. I'm with KG to an extent on this one, only because Joel Embiid is never healthy when it matters. Sean. Now, Sean, we got to do NBA season predictions. Yep, Sean, NBA season predictions. Let's go first. Let's do, this is Sean's Eastern Conference. If you want to pull it up so you can see it. So when I do it, just kind of make a short with it. So I'll put it down. But I want the people to see first. And then, Sean, I want you to explain your Eastern Conference predictions. This is Sean's Eastern Conference prediction, guys, right here. Now, Sean, what's up with your predictions? Why did you pick what you picked?
Oh, so in the East, looking at just the landscape of the East, obviously, some teams have gone out and made some moves. Obviously, Boston being the defending champs, pretty much kept the band together. But, my expectation is they'll be the number one seed in the East. Again, obviously, coming into the, start the season. With the 2 and the 3, I was back and forth between Philly and New York. I chose Philly over New York as the 2 seed, primarily because they just have better depth. Their roster, I think, is deeper, and they can actually withstand, Joel Embiid if he has to miss, back-to-backs, obviously, and some of the guys they brought in, I think really supplement, those 3 guys that they have, in Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George. New York had finished in 3rd. New York's, obviously got a really good starting 5. They don't have a lot of bench depth, and that's a big concern for me. I'll be a little concerned about, again, Thibodeau, how he's able to monitor those minutes, things like that. So I had them finishing 3rd in the East. I got Cleveland finishing 4th. I'm super high on Cleveland. I think Kenny Atkinson is going to come in and diversify their offense quite a bit. Figure out with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, kind of the balance between those two. And also, I do expect to see the emergence of Evan Mobley. I think Evan Mobley is on his way to becoming, a perennial all-star in the Eastern Conference as well. So I like Cleveland 4th. I have Orlando 5th.
I like that.
Orlando, I think, had a really good year last year. I think they are going to just continue to ascend. I think they're going to be defensively. They may defensively be, one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. Particularly, with the addition of KCP, Jalen Suggs, as well, was all defense last year as well. And again, I think they're going to expect to continue growth of Paolo, who again had a really good year last year. Continue to ascend. Franz, who they, did keep, will continue to ascend as well. So I have Orlando finishing 5th. I have Milwaukee finishing 6th. I do have some concerns about Milwaukee. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was back and forth between Milwaukee and Indiana at 6, but I just went with Milwaukee because I do think Giannis is still Giannis.
It's still Giannis. It's still Giannis.
And the primary thing for them is now that they've had a full offseason of Doc Rivers. What is he going to bring in this year that they didn't have last year? Maybe, finds a little more consistent system for them, but also, defensively, can they, again, find the meshing they need, because they still have Brook Lopez, they still have Bobby Portis. They can be waiting on, Chris Middleton, who's going to miss the start of the season. That's another reason why I have them so low. The health of Chris Middleton is very concerning for me. But also, they're just not very good on the perimeter defensively. So when I look at that team, again,
call the Bulls. We got Lonzo waiting for call the Bulls.
Really solid team. But again, I just look at those 5 teams ahead of them in the East, and I think those teams are better and have less questions for me. And then for the play-in, Indiana. Again, Indiana coming off an East Finals run. I think they're a playoff team. I think they are a sure playoff team as well. But the big thing for them is, they can run and outscore anybody in the league. Can they, be a team that in those key moments, finds, ways to be better defensively? And then I have Miami at 8th. Again, as a Heat fan, I say this, I think Miami's a team that if they're healthy, they could be higher, but I know well enough to plan for some guys to be out. But that said, I have Miami finishing 8th. And then Charlotte and Chicago are my last 2 play-in teams. It was kind of really between Charlotte, Chicago, and Atlanta. I like Charlotte. I think Charles Lee is going to make that young team really competitive. I like what you're going to see from second-year Brandon Miller. Again, Charlotte is going to come down to LaMelo being on the floor consistently. LaMelo's got to stay healthy, and I don't think anybody will, dispute that. But I like Brandon Miller, but I'm a big Charles Lee fan. I am a huge Charles Lee fan. I think he was the best coaching hire this offseason, in all honesty. And then I have the Bulls finishing 10th, just ahead of the Hawks. Not because I think the Bulls are an especially great team.
We know you picked it for me. You was like, I threw my boy team in there. That's all it was.
Not at all. No, I just know the Bulls will never ever, tank. They just won't. They won't tank. They are a team that's going to compete, and they will find a way to finish with that last playing spot.
Not for good reason, though.
Yeah, that's my East prediction.
Okay, let me see. Since I got us like this, because I kind of want to skip over. Let me see what I'll be. Okay, that's fine. So we already like this. Okay, my East predictions is a little bit different than yours. I got Boston finishing with the number 1 seed. I think that's still one of the most talented teams in the league, if not the talented team in the league. So I got them finishing number 1. And then also it has been a lot of talk and chatter to Boston because of the thing with Brown, Tatum, with the Team USA. Like, you adding fuel to the fire. You don't want to give team that's champion more fuel to the fire. And I think they're going to come in and with the same hunger as they did last year. I actually got the New York Knickerbockers as the 2nd seed in the East. I think, like you said about the Bulls, we always go try to compete. The same thing goes with Tibbs. Tibbs take the regular season like the playoffs. Now, would it hurt them in long term in the playoffs? Definitely a possibility. 100%. Definitely a possibility. But Tibbs are going to play and compete. And I think with the addition of the pieces that they added to the Knicks, I can see this team going to the 2nd seed. Also, I think Doug even said in the chat, he was like, how the Milwaukee Bucks, with all the problems they had, they were still a high enough seed. So you have them drop 4 spots. I actually can't agree with that. I think they're going to fall off a little bit, but I still think you got Giannis. You still got Chris Middleton, and you even got Dame, even with the injuries. Giannis going to still lead you high in his Eastern Conference. That's the only reason I put them right there. But also with the Pacers, I'm on the opposite side with the Pacers. I think how that fast-paced offense with now Pascal Siakam going to have like a full year and a full training camp with this team. I think this team is going to come improve. I think their playoff run made them better and their team mature. I know we looked at it as a hot streak when they did the play-in, but I actually like this team. And then usually in the regular season, you can have that fast-paced, high offensive type of game and win a lot of games. It always only becomes a problem in the playoffs because teams get to actually prepare for you and put up defensive schemes. At the end of the day, if it's a back-to-back during the week, a team just going to know what you kind of do but they're not going to compare like the playoffs. So I think the Pacers will be fast-paced. I think they will be great this season. I got them finishing in the 4th. I got the Orlando Magic finishing 5th. I think this is going to be a breakout year for Orlando Magic. I think that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was a great addition and signed into this team. A guy who won a championship, some more vet leadership for this team. They got a lot of good defensive players on the guard and wing. Go ahead, Sean.
Two championships.
Oh, two champions. I'm sorry, 2 champions. Forgot about that Lakers, the bubble one. Yeah, he did one, like 2 championships. I think they're going to be a great addition. And I have I'm expecting an all NBA caliber season from Paolo Banchero. I would have put for my MIP, but I figured like he already kind of like star material, so I doubt they would give it to him. But you never know, they did give it to Ja. And I also got Cleveland. My only concern with Cleveland is still offense and shooting from the other players. I'm hoping Mobley takes that lead, but is Donovan Mitchell going to give him the ball enough to actually be great? And can this team with these 2 small guards in the front court actually live up to the defensive expectations that they are set? For my playing teams, I got Philly, health concerns. Health concerns on the thing. Joel Embiid said he's not playing back-to-back. So I figured they just want to – they plan the season just to get in the playoffs. They will probably want to get that 6th seed so they don't play in playing games. But I think they're just going to do the bare minimum, and they're not going to care about their seeding. I got Miami as a playing team. They're always going to compete hard. Can y'all please, for the love of me, please, unleash Bam Adebayo? Let's just see what it looks like when Bam mainly controls the offense from playmaking to scoring. Bam, to me, is a 25, 11, and 8 guy to me, Sean. I can see 24 to 25 points, 11 rebounds, 7 to 8 assists, maybe 6, just depending, in like a block a game. And I feel like they not unleashing it. I get you got Jimmy, but you're already making the concerns you're not going to pay Jimmy. Spo, unleash Bam. Let's see what this works. Let's see what he truly can become. You see the skill. Then I got Atlanta and my Chicago Bulls just kind of like a throw-in. I don't expect too much. I don't want my Bulls to be a play-in team, but 9 times out of 10, like you said, we always want to go 41-41 every year. We got to. And then Atlanta is right there at the bottom. You know, I think Atlanta is going to fall off this year, but I could be wrong.
So I want to say real quick just about your Bam take real quick. I think you're going to see the continued emergence of Bam, but I think it's going to depend on Rozier and Tyler Hero and those guys being willing to play off the ball more. And also Bam obviously is expanding his range, but I don't think what they don't want necessarily is Bam to be a guy to say every game you're going to shoot 5, 6, 7 threes. Some games it'll be 5 or 6. Some games it'll be 1 or 2. But the fact that he's now expanded and shooting that corner 3 in particular, I think you'll see the expansion. And also, you know, the other piece for me with Miami, and I just say this, is, you know, Jovic's continued growth, Haskell's continued growth, you know, Khalil Ware, who I think can play with Bam, who's, you know, basically he's a lot like Derek Lively, but he can actually, you know, stretch the defense a little bit. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting season in Miami. I'll say that.
Okay, Sean. Before we get to our awards, we did the East. You got to do your West. What's up with your West list? What's this looking like?
So I have OKC, obviously finishing top seed. Love what they did this offseason. Obviously, they're going to be without Hartenstein to start the season. But that said, they'll still be really, really good. And, you know, and again, I think the playoff experience they got last year, adding Caruso, adding Hartenstein will make them even better. So I have them finishing first in the West. I have Dallas finishing second. Again, like what they did this offseason, how they kind of restructured their roster. I know a lot of people are going to, look at, Klay Thompson and obviously, his addition and what he will provide, for that offense. But I do think, one of their big things is the continued emergence of Derek Lively. If Derek Lively can help continue to anchor their defense, they had the top-ranked defense in the NBA after March last year. Adding some veteran guys, to that roster, I think, was a huge help. So I have Dallas finishing second. I got Denver finishing third. I know a lot of people are really down on them losing KCP. It is, but I think they got a decent core four, and they still have the best player in the world, and who does not miss games.
That Jokic don't. He do not.
So I think they finished third in the West, and they understand it's going to be a very tight race in the West, right? They want to make sure they are in that top four at minimum. So I got Denver finishing third. I got Minnesota's finishing fourth. I know a lot of people, looked at the Cat trade and feel like they didn't win the Cat trade. I actually like the Cat trade a lot for them. Again, adding some veteran presence to their bench and DiVincenzo, obviously Julius Randle. What's his role going to be? Will he run with the second unit? Some staggered lineups. Ant's continued emergence as well. But I think Minnesota is going to be right there in the conversation. So I have Minnesota finishing fourth. I got Memphis finishing fifth. I think Ja is ready to reassert himself as that
forget
guy.
About Ja.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget about Ja. I think what will be interesting for them is, obviously how they use Zach Edey. Will this allow Triple J to float more defensively? Because, again, that's going to be a big thing for them as well. And then I think the big thing for them is managing the time that Gigi Jackson is out. How will they manage that time until he comes back? But I got Memphis finishing fifth. And then I have Sacramento finishing sixth. I know a lot of people aren't super crazy about the DeRozan move. I like the DeRozan move. I think DeRozan can evolve himself enough that he is willing to play off the ball.
Not gonna happen.
No, I'm saying on that team because again, their best playmakers are De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. So that team to flow and to function, the ball has to be in their hands, and everybody has to flow off of them. And they will. And Mike Brown again is one of the better offensive coaches in the league. He finds a way to kind of utilize guys' skill sets. So I got them finishing sixth in the West. And the play-in, I'm super high on New Orleans. My only question for them is they don't have a real center, but I like the rest of their roster outside of having a legit center. And I think we're going to see Zion really go in this season.
I can see it.
Like Trey Murphy, love Herb Jones. I think CJ McCollum is going to come off the bench for them, which again will help boost their bench. The addition of DeJounte Murray, I think, makes them more dynamic as well. Got to figure out the Brandon Ingram situation, but other than that, I think they're absolutely a playoff team in the West. And then I have Phoenix finishing eighth.
I'm glad you go to Phoenix because I want you to truly explain this because Thunder said he think the Suns are too low in my opinion. They was all injured last year and still became a 4 seed with no point guard. So Sean, Thunder need to know what's going on. Why you got Phoenix this low?
So again, my big questions for them is health. They're not a team that stays healthy, and I think just the West is just that competitive that 1 through 8 is going to be like that. We're going to have. I think this is going to be the year in the West where you're going to see probably 12 or 13 teams in the West who think they should be playoff teams, and we know they could be 12 or 13 playoff teams. So just finishing in the top 8 is really going to be an accomplishment in the West because it's going to be that tight. I really think this is the most – I can't remember the Western Conference being this competitive top to 13 because I think Utah Portland are not really in that conversation.
You think it's a 50 win type? You got to have 50 to get in?
I would say 50. I'm going to say you got to have 48.
48.
Yeah, to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are teams that, got to manage the situation. And then also, too, it's nothing against, Phoenix, but, Budenholzer, I think, will diversify their offense. But I don't know what they're going to be defensively. And that's a big concern for me. I have no idea what they're going to be defensively. And in the West, I think you got to guard, and I think you got to rebound. And I do worry about their ability to, especially the bigger teams, and the ability to rebound against those bigger teams. So I have Phoenix finishing 8th. Playoff team, but I got them finishing 8th. And then Houston, I'm super high on Houston. I think Houston showed last year, particularly second half of the season, they're going to be a team to really deal with. Udoka, I think, is building a culture there. You got guys kind of buying into that culture. They're going to be really competitive. It wouldn't shock me if they slipped into the 8th, but I got them finishing 9th. And then I have the Lakers finishing 10th. And it's not a slight to the Lakers. It's just, I think the West is just that deep, honestly.
Yeah.
I really do. And it was hard to leave out, some teams, but, I just think the West is just going to be that tight, 1 through 13.
No, and I agree with you, Sean, because when we was doing this, the West was so hard for me to do because it's like legitimately about 12 teams who can legitimately make, especially now with it being a play-in ability now, it's legitimately 12 teams that can literally make the playoffs, or at least the play-in. The West was definitely hard for me to do. For me and my Western, we kind of was on the same path with, I think, our first couple of teams.
Like first five?
Yeah, first five. Yeah, I got OKC Thunder as the number 1 seed. I think they was great and outstanding this year, and they improved their team. The hard sign of Caruso moving so big that you don't understand. Those signings is going to make a real difference. I also got the Dallas Mavericks improving. They improved, even though I know everybody's complaining that Clay missed a shot. Wasn't getting a shot going early, but I think the Mavericks have improved and they're going to win a lot of games, especially Luka probably trying to go for that MVP this year. So he got to have a high seed. I think the Nuggets are still a great team, but they did lose some talent. And losing the piece that they lost, I think they will still be at the top of the West. I like the Westbrook signing. I know you leave my boy Westbrook alone. But I don't see them having a better season than the Mavericks or the Thunder. I disagree with you on the Timberwolves move. I love that they got DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo is great. But now I think with the Randall situation only going to work for me, and I can be like, oh, this was an excellent move if Randall decides to come off the bench. Because I don't think you make no move like this unless you trying to emerge Nas Reed as the guy. Now, I'm cool with Nas and Randall together or Nas and Gobert, either one. But Gobert or Randall can't start. And obviously, you're not going to sit Gobert. So if Randall come out the bench, I think this move would be excellent. And then Randall can still play his style of basketball that he want to play, have the ball in his hands, run the second unit. And if you do that, could mess around with the 6-man a year. But he's just been a star in New York, so it's probably hard to tell guys to take a diminished role. But if Randall decides to come off the bench, that will be outstanding because I believe Nas Reed needs to start. And I definitely agree with the Memphis Grizzlies because people forget about Memphis. I don't think Ja's going to get hurt again, and I don't think Ja's going to get in trouble again. And the team is actually still a good team. You still got Smart. GG was a diamond in the rough. You found him. You got Edie, Ja too. So it's just like with those pieces, and Ja had took those guys to a next level when he was just here with his presence alone. So I think Ja will be back, and I got Ja playing 60, 70 plus games. And if Ja do that, the Grizzlies will compete. I have the Phoenix Suns as the last team to round it out. At the end of the day, too much talent on this team in the West. They're going to win a lot of games. Injury do concern me, but that could be with a lot of other teams. And the same thing you say about Ja, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Lakers for sure. But I think the Phoenix Suns is just very too talented to not to make the playoff spot. My play-in teams, I'm not high on the DeMar DeRozan move for the Kings because at the end of the day, you're asking a guy at the end of his career to change his game to fit something. I doubt he does that. DeMar DeRozan will come in handy for when Sabonis and Fox plays fast and they're not getting enough buckets. They need somebody who can get a quick bucket. that's where DeMar DeRozan money is going to come in and show its worth. On a day-to-day basis, no. And I don't think they improved and I love Debo, but that Debo signing didn't improve them that much. I still don't see him being a playing team. Los Angeles Lakers definitely got him as a playing team, a little bit higher than you. Only thing concerned me is like the injury concerns, and then I don't know what JJ Redick gonna be as a coach. But at the end of the day, LeBron and AD can at least get you to a play-in spot. I doubt them being any lower than that spot. New Orleans Pelicans always a concern. I think New Orleans, when healthy, is a playoff team. The problem is when healthy and Zion, because Zion looks like a beast. Zion like he's in great shape. So it's only for cause for concern. That's my only thing about them. And also the Brandon Ingram situation. Are we going to trade him? And then also, I don't know what that trade could consist of, because that trade could move the team back. So I also took that in my mindset of like, maybe it's a possibility Brandon Ingram could be gone and they might decide to rebuild. And then I got the San Antonio Spurs. I know a lot of people not high on San Antonio, but the players that they signed, the vet players that they added to this team is going to change the whole team dynamic. You got Chris Paul, you got the Harrison Barnes, who going to help these younger guys develop. And Wemby is going to have an outstanding year with playing next to Chris Paul. The numbers are going to go up crazy. So I got the Spurs rounding out my last spot in the play-in. Sean, your award predictions. Ooh, this one was kind of hard. I'm not going to lie. I think like 3 awards was easy for me. The MVP, DPOY. I forgot what I put for DPOY. But Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, and Most Improved was kind of hard for me. But what you got, Sean?
Yeah, MVP. It really came down to 3 guys for me. For MVP, it was Luka, it was SGA, and it was Ant. I went with Luka. I think Luka's primed to have, after going to the finals, experiencing that last year. Obviously, didn't end well, for Dallas, but I think he's primed to take his game to another level. So I took Luka as my MVP. No slight to SGA, no slight to Ant, but that's my 1, 2, 3 is Luka, SGA, and Ant for MVP. DPOY, DPOY. It was really between 2 guys, Victor and Bam. I went with Bam, not because I don't think Victor's going to have a great season, and that was not a homer pick, but I think Miami, from a team perspective, is going to finish higher in certain defensive metrics that a lot of voters look at when you talk about DPOY. I don't know if San Antonio is going to be good enough as a team defensively to finish in some of those metrics. Now, again, when Victor's on the floor, they tend to be higher in those metrics. But
yes,
and they look at that. The voters do look at that. So I went with Bam for DPOY. But Victor, I think, obviously is right there, and it wouldn't shock me if Victor won DPOY. Rookie of the Year, this one was difficult. This one was difficult because it was trying to find who's going to have a consistent role on a team that's going to be competitive. I think Reed Shepherd is the guy. It was Reed Shepherd, it was Zach Edey. Those were kind of my 2 that I really looked at. But I think Reed Shepherd, just in terms of how Houston's going to use him, how they're going to deploy him, how they're going to allow him some freedom, in their offense. I think he's got a chance to be really, really good in his rookie season. So I took Reed Shepherd as my Rookie of the Year, but Zach Edey, I think, will be right there in the conversation as well. Sixth Man of the Year was not easy because you never know who's going to, what guy you might have as a 6th man and who's going to start, things like that. But I went with Jordan Clarkson. I think, again, he's going to come off the bench. That's his role on that team. He's, 17, 18 off the bench. Kind of, again, a little bit low budget, Jamal Crawford. So I went with Jordan Clarkson coming off of the bench for Utah. Most improved player, Jalen Williams, super high on Williams. When they get Hartenstein back and they're able to deploy those lineups they want to deploy, I think Jalen Williams is going to show the world why they are super high on him in Oklahoma City. So I have him winning Most Improved Player. And Coach of the Year, this was, again, a little difficult one, but I went with Kenny Atkinson again. I think you're going to see a diversification of Cleveland's offense. Being in Golden State all those years with Steve Kerr, but also what he did in Brooklyn before that, you're going to see why they hired Kenny Atkinson. So I took Kenny Atkinson as coach of the year.
I like that J-Dub pick. I almost picked J-Dub too. I almost did pick J. That J-Dub pick is a good pick. For me, MVP, I'm going to go SGA. I think with the Thunder being the number 1 seed, and they're going to be better than what they was last year, SGA leading the charge, I think he will sound off the MVP. I almost put Victor for most improved too, but I figured that they just going to give him Defensive Player of the Year. So I got Victor Wembanyama winning Defensive Player of the Year. My Rookie of the Year was tough, so I just went with the homer pick, Mateus Beages. I think the kid is nice. Actually, I think he might be the steal of the draft. It's just depending on how many opportunities they're going to actually give him. But if we actually find a home for Zach, I know Josh Giddey going to play, but I don't think with his Josh Giddey style of play, he won't be in his way. So I got Mateus Beages as the Rookie of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year, I got Alex Caruso with the OKC Thunder. I think Alex Caruso was a great signing for the OKC Thunder, and I think he'll be outstanding. I think with J-Dub and Lou Dart, I think he comes off the bench. I hope they don't start him too much. That's always one thing I was concerned about that, but I 100% see Alex Caruso coming right off the bench being straight impactful. Most improved was my toughest one to do. I'm big Evan Mobley guy. Like you said, I was just going to probably pick Wemby again because I figured that they're going to give Wemby, which is crazy. Wemby had a good year, but his numbers are going to look better, and he's going to score much easier because he got Chris Paul. Chris Paul going to make his job easy. That's why I just think they're going to reward him with DPOY. But my next pick, I went Evan Mobley. I expect Evan Mobley to have a better year, hopefully offensively. Like you said, Kenny Atkinson, hope they find better ways to engage Evan Mobley offensively. I don't want to see that ISO ball with Garland and Mitchell no more. It don't work. It's not going to work in the long term. You're going to win a couple games, but it's not going to work in the long term. So I'm looking to see Evan Mobley take that step as a player, and that will take Cleveland over the top this year, make them very competitive, making a tough team to play against. Coach of the Year, I'm going Tom Thibodeau. I got New York having a big year. If Boston wasn't as stacked as they is, I would have the Knicks as the number 1 seed. I got Tom Thibodeau going for one of those Tom Thibodeau type years where team very competitive, have a high record in the East. And I got Boston as the number 1 seed, but I got the Knicks right behind them. I got the Knicks maybe like a couple games behind them. So I got Tom Thibodeau rounding off with Coach of the Year. Then, New York back exciting, so they got to award somebody with a award. And that was our NBA predictions. Make sure you guys comment down below under this video. And we also going to clip out the NBA season prediction. Comment your prediction. I want to know the East. I want to know your West. And I want to know your awards list. Let us know. Sean, before we get up out of here, we got to recap our picks of the week. I don't know. I think you got me this week, but we gonna see. But that's not a good sign because what? I'm 4-2. Then that'd be 4-3. Then now next thing you know, you on a run. Now you on a heater. We can't have that. We can't have that, Sean. So what we looking like?
All right, week 7 recap. First game, New England at Jacksonville. SB took New England. I took Jacksonville. Jacksonville did win the
never
game.
Again. True, never again.
Very surprising New England struggled as much as they did defensively in that game. But, nonetheless, did take that win. Next game was Seattle at Atlanta. We both took Atlanta. Seattle blew out Atlanta at home. Very surprising, but nonetheless, Kirk Cousins, 3 turnovers, not it. So anyway, next game, Tennessee at Buffalo. We both took Buffalo. Buffalo did blow out Tennessee. So yeah. Okay. Next game, Cincinnati at Cleveland. You took Cincinnati. I took Cleveland. Cincinnati did win the game, so that one goes to you.
Joe Shiesty, you got me right, Joe. We did it, Joe.
This game, one of our key games of the week, Houston at Green Bay. You took Houston. I took Green Bay at home. Green Bay did win the game.
Good game, by the way. That was a good game.
that was a good game, very good game yesterday. Even though be a little concerned about some of the protection issues for C.J. Stroud, and also I wonder if teams have figured out a blueprint without Nico Collins how to play Houston offensively. So be curious to see how that plays out until Nico Collins comes back. Next game, Miami at Indianapolis. We both took the Colts. Colts did win. Very concerned about Anthony Richardson, though. We'll say that. Detroit at Minnesota. Another good game yesterday.
Great.
I took Detroit. You took Minnesota. Detroit did win the game, so that one goes to me. Next game, Philadelphia at the New York Giants. We both took the Eagles. The Eagles blew them out. Probably the best game Eagles have played defensively all year. So
wasn't hard when you got Daniel Jones on the quarterback.
Next game, Las Vegas at the LA Rams. We both took the Rams. The Rams did win. Next game, Carolina at Washington. We both took Washington. Washington did blow them out, even though yes.
I told you. I said that man was mad about that Ravens. I said he's going to take it out on the Panthers. I told you. That man blew the doors off.
Well, I mean, without Jaden Daniels. So, it was.
Yeah, but the Commanders came back.
And also it's Carolina. We got to consider the opponent. It's just they're not a good team. So, yeah. Next game, Kansas City at San Francisco. We both took Kansas City. Kansas City did win. Only undefeated team left in the NFL. Next game, New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. You took the Jets. I took the Steelers. The Steelers did pull that one off.
Danger back. Danger Wilson.
Played well in the second half. First half, not so much, but he did play well in the second half. So based on that, 4-1. We do have 2 games tonight, but it doesn't matter.
Which does not matter.
Yes. So we are now 4-3. This week goes to me. And
you want a 2-game win streak right now? We got to lock in Friday. We got to lock in. No more risky picks. Like we was playing with too much. We got a little too excited. We was up too many weeks. Then we got to lock back in. We got to lock back in, guys. We gonna take it back to the drawing board. But Sean, episode 11.
Episode 11. I'm going to take 2 guys. I'm going to take Dante Culpepper.
Ooh, I like that pick.
Dante Culpepper. And I'm going to take Klay Thompson.
Shout out Clay. Shout out my boy Clay. You took my pick with Clay. Okay, so I got to go somewhere else. I like that Dante Culpepper pick up. Oh, I'm going to do the Shaq here. Let's go. We're going to go Zeke.
Go Zeke. You know what? Shout out another one, though. Future Hall of Famer, Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald. Shout out Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald was a dog, too. Also, shout out OG one. Come look at that. They got Elvin Hayes, Bob McAdoo.
Yeah, Big Bob
McAdoo. Yeah, shout out him. And then also they got another one. Your favorite quarterback, Sean, Drew Bresser.
Yeah, we're not.
No, not Drew Bledsoe. But thank you guys for watching. This has been another great episode of Real Takes Over Fake Debates with SB and Sean. Let us know what you think about our NBA season predictions. Let us know. And make sure, don't forget, comment, not in the live chat, comment under the video your NBA predictions. I want to know the East Conference in order, West in order, and I want to know your awards. Drop them down in the chat. Appreciate you guys for watching. This has been another great episode. Real Takes Over Fake Debates with SB and Sean. And see you guys on Friday. We are out of here. Peace.
Real takes over fake debates.
Rucker Man.
Ball.